Here is the latest Higher Summits forecast brought to you by our friends at the Mount Washington Observatory.
Weather above treeline in the White Mountains is often wildly different than at our trailheads. Before you hike, check the Higher Summits forecast at mountwashington.org. Weather observers working at the nonprofit Mount Washington Observatory write this elevation-based forecast every morning and afternoon. Search and rescue teams, avalanche experts, and backcountry guides all rely on the Higher Summits forecast to anticipate weather conditions above treeline. You should too. Go to mountwashington.org or text forecast to 603-356-2137.
Hello, listeners. Here's your forecast for the weekend of June 14th, 2025. Friday. Mostly in the clouds, trending towards clearing under mostly sunny skies. High around 40 degrees. Wind northwest at 40 to 55 miles per hour, with gusts up to 70 miles per hour early. Decreasing to 25 to 40 miles per hour with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. Wind chill rising to 25 to 35 above. Friday night. In and out of the clouds, trending towards in the clouds under increasingly cloudy skies. A chance of rain showers and a slight chance of wintry mix after midnight. Low in the mid-30s. Wind west at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Wind chill 25 to 35 above. Saturday. In the clouds with rain showers. Little to no snow, sleet or ice accumulations. High around 40 degrees. Wind west at 15 to 30 miles per hour. Wind chill 25 to 35 above. So again, another rainy Saturday or a Saturday with precipitation. Let's hope it improves for the runners out on the auto road this weekend and hope to see you at the 200th. Have a great weekend. Safe hiking.
Broadcasting from the Woodpecker Studio in the great Live Free or Die state of New Hampshire. Welcome to the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast, where we discuss all things related to hiking and search and rescue in the White Mountains of New Hampshire and beyond. Here are your hosts, Mike and Nick. So this is your first time podcasting, huh, Katie?
Yep.
Never been?
Yep, first time.
How exciting. You nervous at all? Or?
A little bit. I don't know. I'm not really sure what to expect. I don't really listen to a lot of podcasts. I've never done this before, so I'm excited for the experience.
Yeah, you'll do fine. I feel like a newbie too.
Yeah,
Stomp. Are you a little rusty? It's been a while. I'm sure everybody's recognizing that classic voice. Keeps coming back.
Yeah, I blew the dust off the microphone.
Excellent. So welcome. So I should mention too before I even get into this. Stomp's filling in for Mike tonight, and Stomp was kind of itchy to get in anyways. It worked out, but we do want to just mention Mike had a loss in the family. We do want to offer our sincerest condolences, in our prayers, and your family, Mike. You're in our thoughts and prayers for sure. I know it's a rough time to go through something like that. It's never a good time, I guess, but yeah, we're thinking of you, buddy. So hang in there. Take care.
100%.
Off that note, I'll try to do a show intro like Mike, so I tried to type a little something up, so listeners forgive me if it's not up to snuff. But hello everybody, and welcome to episode 199 of the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast. Tonight we are joined by Katie Pasquarella. Katie is a hiker and climber who enjoys exploring the Northeast and sharing her adventures on Instagram. Tonight we'll also discuss why it might not be a great idea to do mushrooms while hiking the Adirondacks, a tragic story of a father and daughter passing away on Maine's highest peak. Mike, Stomp, and Nick gear up for the SLASR 200th tomorrow. Stomp shares a book review. Stomp and crew help support the Cannon Mountain Cirque series. We discuss some recent hikes. New Hampshire has seen 12 consecutive Saturdays with measurable rainfall. So if you think it's been rainy lately, it's not just you. It actually has been that rainy. And we've got a whole bunch more on this episode of the Sounds Like a Search and Rescue podcast. So I'm Nick.
And I'm Stomp. Let's get started. Let's get started. So first up, we have an ad from our good friend Christina with Wild Raven Endurance Coaching. Beloop, beloop, beloop.
Hi, I'm Christina from Wild Raven Endurance Coaching. I work with athletes of all levels, from hikers to triathletes, helping you reach your goals with personalized guidance. With years of experience hiking, mountain biking, and trail running across New England, I also have a deep knowledge of the New Hampshire 4,000 footers and the surrounding trails. Whether you're a beginner hiker or a seasoned athlete, I'll guide you towards your goals, reducing injury risk and improving your performance through smart, tailored coaching. Are you looking to transition from hiking to mountain running? I'm here to make that journey easier too. My approach combines strength training, mindfulness, and life balance on and off the trail. Let me help you find more joy in your sport while getting stronger and healthier along the way. Visit www.coaching.christinafolsick.com and start your adventure today.
All right, so always a good time to reach out to Christina if you want to get in shape. I know all the ultras are kind of seem to be in season right now. I've seen a bunch kind of occur in like the Cannon Mountain one, and I guess 'tis the season. So
it's a hot commodity. You've got the Jigger Johnson coming up soon.
Okay.
What else? They do the Kilkenny. I think that's some point soon too. So yeah, 'tis the season.
Yeah. So if you want to get in shape, reach out to Christina.
Yeah, she's the best.
So I've been trying to keep the theme going, or I guess from Pud's podcast of sort of doing some music moments. So this is what I've been listening to this week. The album Color Theory by the band Soccer Mommy, which is kind of just a funny name, I think, for a band. And this came out in 2020. Yeah, Soccer Mommy is it just sounds weird to say it, but yeah, Soccer Mommy. And there's also a group named Mama that I've been listening to lately, and they're both kind of female lead vocalists just by coincidence. But yes, so this album Color Theory came out in 2020, and Soccer Mommy is the creative vehicle of Sophia Regina Allison. She started in 2015 from Nashville, Tennessee. So I think like basically the music capital of the world, I believe it's referred to as. Mm-hmm. This is the second studio album by Soccer Mommy. I started listening to them, I think, if they came up off like Apple Music recommendations or maybe Spotify or something like that. And I was listening to their first album called Clean that was released back in 2018 and really liked it. So I'm just kind of continuing my way through their record catalog a bit. I kind of hate putting people in boxes, but they're kind of fall into that indie rock alt genre. I personally love the guitar layering on this album. While there's nothing like super showy and complicated, there's just some really nice layering going on. I believe they do have 3 guitarists. So that's kind of can be too much sometimes. Yeah, like too much, but like there's certain songs where there's just a bass line and then it's like 3 riffs kind of going, like they're all doing something different and they kind of, I guess, complement each other really well. So I feel like they use them really well, which kind of can be tough to do sometimes. Mm-hmm. Lyrics are great. I think they just get stuck in your head. And the production, I think Stomp would appreciate this, is very clean. It's pretty nice, which I find most stuff I like to listen to has been recorded pretty well and tends to sound like I like things to sound. So
yeah, it's an art for sure. So how do you find you use Google? What was your
So like I'll do like similar artist stations like through Apple Music or even Spotify. Yeah. And Spotify does that too. I'm not sure exactly where I first heard the album by them, but I kind of feel like I get in a rut with like listening to the same things over and over again. Yeah. So I'll just be like, oh, let me find this.
The recommendation features are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice in the era now of, I feel like I remember going to like Newberry Comics and you'd have to dump like $15 or whatever on a CD. So like sometimes you'd buy a new album and it'd like suck. There'd be like one good song on it. So it's nice nowadays where you can kind of like I'll like add like 5 or 6 albums and kind of cruise through them and just delete the ones that I don't particularly like that much. So this is one that did not get deleted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only other thing I had in here, so this produced 5 singles out of 10 tracks, so not too bad for an album showing.
Yeah,
including Lucy, Yellow is the Color of Her Eyes, Bloodstream, Circle the Drain, and in my opinion, the standout track is Crawling in My Skin. It's got this Radiohead-esque building thing sort of going on. I've been listening to this song literally every day for weeks. I don't know if either of you, Katie or Stomp, have a thing with music too, where it's if I really like a song, like I'll try to make sure I only listen to it like once a day, so I don't like just completely like blow it out of the water.
I just think it's like every little bit of dopamine out of the song if you listen to it on replay.
Yeah, I'm trying to extend the life on it a bit. I'm like, okay, today's like, this is it. I listened to it during my run today. Like, that's it. I'm cashing in on it. I listened to the album once, but I just think it's a fantastic album. So Color Theory by Soccer Mommy. And I was going to open it up to you, like you, Stomp, or Katie, if you guys had anything you've been listening to lately or thing you wanted to mention.
I took a deep dive back into 2013 Daft Punk's Random Access Memories. Ooh, and the reason being is when I first heard it, I thought it was just sort of cheesy pop. You know, you've got Pharrell doing Lucky. Remember that song?
Yeah.
So that sort of turned me off on the record, but I saw a documentary about it, and it was an ode to the 70s. And what they did actually, this duo, they're a DJ duo from France, they pulled all the session players from the 70s, mostly from the LA area and the New York scene, and they recorded these guys. So when you re-listen to the album, knowing that these are the heavy hitters that used to record like all the famous records, it's a whole new experience. It's fantastic, like really great stuff. Nile Rodgers on, just crazy stuff. So that's been nice. I'll have to check
that out. That album reminds me of like when I started working at my current place of employment, because it was on the radio all the time and we had like a radio speaker over our desks. Yeah. And Lucky was definitely on quite a bit that year back in 2013.
I mean, for good reason. It's a genius song. It's brilliant. Yeah. But,
even if you hate it, it still gets stuck in your head. It doesn't matter. It's just like, it's like too catchy.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've been listening to August Burns Red. I just kind of got into them. It's the same kind of thing where it was a recommendation from a station that I was listening to on like Amazon Music. They're pretty heavy. They're like a metalcore band. So not for everybody. But I really like their
stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know I always enjoy sort of your musical picks on your Instagram posts and stuff, and it seems like something that you usually put some thought into, so that's super cool. And that's kind of what I figured. I'm like, I wonder what Katie's listening to right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty eclectic. I like everything, but mostly I listen to like metal, and then I try to keep it a little bit lighter on Instagram because I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. And
like you don't want to scare people away.
Screaming at you, they don't. You typically love that, so I try to keep it a little bit of a lighter side for Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Do you listen to Rammstein? Like that kind of metal, or?
Yeah,
crazy
a little
about
bit of their stuff, but I never really got too much into them. I know they have like a few popular songs, and I think they had something recently that I heard maybe on Octane or like on Sirius, but I'm not too much.
Yeah. It's definitely an acquired taste. But whenever I put it on, my wife's like, "Are you kidding me? Not them again." She won't let me listen to them when she's present.
Yeah, I have a couple. I wouldn't say like I've gotten into metalcore specifically as much, but I definitely like bands that kind of have some harder songs. Like I'm a huge Thrice fan, and kind of like some of that thrash metal. Yeah. I think I probably saw them maybe on one of your posts before, but yeah, I like love Thrice. But I like when you break into screaming for sure a little bit, but I need the contrast of like screaming and chorus. I don't think I've graduated to just as much screaming yet, but maybe one day. There's always time.
That's the gateway into it.
Cool. So we've got a pretty big event coming up tomorrow, at least tomorrow when you guys hear this, but we've got the SLASR 200th anniversary coming up.
Can you believe it?
I can't. Can you believe it, Stomp? Because you've been doing it for a while, man. Like,
yeah, it's wild. I think 4 calendar years of episodes, but wow. Yeah, 200's wild. This event is at the Mount Washington Road Race, as we've been plugging. We'll be under the main tent at the Auto Road, essentially at the Great Glen Trails on Route 16 at Mount Washington. I'll be DJing from 7 to 9, pumping some killer EDM tracks. After the race starts, just shortly after 9, we'll be recording for 2 or 3 hours, and then I'll be back on the board playing music before the award ceremony. But we have some guests lined up. We'll be hearing from Tom Raffio. He's the CEO of Delta Dental, the big sponsor for the race, and we'll be chatting, and this should be a really nice time. It should be interesting hearing the podcast reverberating throughout the mountains. Because you know how the setup is. I don't know if you've seen it, Nick, but you have the main tent, and then the announcer has, I don't know, like 20, 30 speakers all over the place. So we'll be going through those speakers.
Okay, that's wild. Well, I remember you telling me that I would appreciate the setup last year, I think, when you were telling me about it. So I don't know if I'm ready to hear our voices through that much
we'll have
amperage.
The headphones on, for sure. We won't hear ourselves otherwise, but it should be really interesting.
The idea of people hiking up like Madison and Adams on the other side can just hear us echoing through the Great Gulf. Like, that's kind of...
Carter Mariah. Like, what the hell is that?
What is that? Is that a Yeti?
We hope to see people there. If you're in the neighborhood, there should be plenty of parking, and we'll open up the mic for any listeners that want to jump on and say a few words, and it should be a nice time.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it, and I know some people too have reached out to me asking about parking and stuff, but there'll be plenty of parking if you want to come visit us. Please do. Plenty of space.
Shouldn't be an issue at all.
All right, so moving right along here, we've had a lot of rain. I know we kind of called out in the beginning, but we also had a lot of thunder and lightning storms around here. And Stomp, I think you threw this article in sort of to just remind people, like, you do need to be safe. It's like, if it sounds like high likelihood of thunderstorms, thunder and lightning, especially when you're hiking in the mountains above tree line, you kind of need to be careful.
Yeah. This person got hit by lightning. A woman from Henniker. She's in critical condition. There's no update, but she was hit. Being next to a tree, essentially, and she got hit. But it did remind me that there are some safety pointers for hikers when you're above tree line and you find yourself in a storm. I mean, the basic preventative medicine is to know what you're getting into when you go out, know the forecast. But if you do find yourself in a storm, there's an article here that we listed. There are several articles out there, but I found some good information actually here. The obvious ones: get to lower ground, avoid the high points, high peaks, open areas, hilltops, tall trees. Like lightning loves to hit those things for sure. Avoid conductors, water, lake, streams, metal objects, including your hiking poles. That should be a no-brainer for folks. And anything that's wet, they suggest that you crouch low. And when you're crouching, actually to get on your heels, so you're crouching, but you're actually leaning back towards the heels as opposed to being on your toes. You're trying to minimize the contact with the ground. So if you can minimize the contact of your foot to just the heel, you're likely better to fear than with your full foot down. Let's see, spread out. If you're in large groups, definitely do not clump together. You want to get away from each other as far as possible. Avoid trees, cliffs, overhangs. They also attract lightning. So a couple tips there for you. Insulate yourself too. If you sit on your pad, that might actually help a little bit to get you away from the ground. So 'tis the season. I mean, it's not been too bad, but yeah, I'm sure we'll have some bad storms coming up.
Yeah, I feel like as things start to warm up, you always get that sort of warm air rises off the valley kind of throughout the day, and then the afternoon usually start to see clouds start building up and get some thunderstorms. Not as bad as, like, I have a buddy from Denver that was just in, and I was talking to him about hiking out there, and he's like, with some of those mountains out there, you can literally see thunderstorms form at the same exact time every day.
Isn't that wild?
As it starts to get warmer, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's terrifying. Especially when you're up higher.
Oh yeah, yes. I think all those people try to summit early and get down as fast as you can, more or less.
That's a good strategy.
For sure.
with all this nice rain, I'm sure things are starting to bloom. I know have you guys, I saw Stomp has some tomatoes growing, but do you do any gardening at all, Katie, or anything?
my shabby tomatoes. Yeah.
I don't. I tried to a couple years ago. I bought a planter, this like stacked planter for my house, and I think I just don't get enough sun on my porch, so nothing really did well at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Stomp might be in that similar boat with the sun.
Yeah, we get like 1 hour of sun out back. So we actually tried a pot inside with a full spectrum LED light.
Yeah.
And we have 3 little buds, and one of them's doing okay. The other 2 are sort of struggling. But I would think by this point they'd be a little bigger, but they're maybe 3 or 4 inches tall. I don't know.
Yeah. It's tough. Even we got a decent amount of sun where we have kind of just an open like tin square garden that I have in my backyard, and nothing's really grown much over probably like a month. It finally kicked off a little bit after we had some warm days last week, but it's just been tough. It's been really cloudy.
That's
not
probably
a ton
a big
of
part
sun.
of it.
The temperature's been fluctuating too.
Yeah, it's been kind of unusually cool, at least in the Northeast. It seems like
it just seems like really big swings. I live in Connecticut, so it's a little bit warmer down here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
But it was 90 here, and then it was 60 today. It's all over the place.
Yeah. Well, at least it's been, I guess, warm enough up in New Hampshire. It sounds like all the Alpine Gardens are finally up in bloom. I know I'm just poking around up on Welch Sticky when I was kind of up before trail maintenance. I took some pictures of some nice little flowers kind of coming up. And it sounds like the Lupines are getting pretty close. And I'd never heard of this before, Stomp. You added this.
Are you serious?
Not the Lupines, but the fact that they give precise updates from Harm. And I love Harmon's cheese, which is funny. Like I'm kind of a cheese nerd thing. I really enjoy cheeses for sure.
Yeah,
and I like Harmon's like sharp cheddar they do, but I did not know that they did this.
Yeah, well, I've been using AI a lot just for information, and it pulled up that site. So if you go to Facebook, it's Harmon's Cheese and Country Store, and they do a daily update on the status of the lupins. I call them lupins. You're probably right, lupines. So I guess they're at or near peak as we speak.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of them this past weekend. I was up in Maine, and I saw a bunch of alpine flowers growing on South Crocker, and then a bunch of lupins as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that area always seems really fantastic if you head up by like Sugar Hill, like where Polly's is and stuff. They just have a couple like big fields around there where I've shot before. And for people that don't know, or if you aren't aware, lupines or lupins are those like they're like a stalk with like giant not giant, but moderately sized purple flowers coming off them, like a really deep purple. They come out this time of year and they're really beautiful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I prefer to just pull over on the highway and see the ones on the side of the road, avoid the crowds.
Yeah, there are a lot of random spots. I noticed them off like some exit. I think it might have been a couple exits before your Stomp up there, but I was kind of like, oh, lupine. Like as I'm driving, I'm like, I probably shouldn't turn around right now. Probably should pay attention to the road.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's pretty. But the Alpine Garden, that's amazing. Monticello is on the southern end of Mount Jefferson. If anybody's up there now, that's probably the time to see it. It's the best. Can't beat it. Yeah. It's beautiful.
Is the Alpine Garden like on Washington? Is that on like the eastern side, sort of like above Tuckerman? Because I haven't actually checked that out before. Or
correct.
It's not in bloom.
Yeah. Okay. They call that the. Well, I mean, there's another section of it too, as well, adjacent to the Cog. So that would be the northwest side. Okay. But the traditional Alpine Garden, if I recall, is that flat expanse just connecting to Lake of the Clouds hut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So anyway, get out there. Do some peeping.
Yeah, do some peeping and make sure you don't step on them either. That's one thing to be conscious of.
Yeah.
I always think it's interesting when they talk about these plants of like they can survive like whatever weather on Mount Washington, but if someone like steps on them, like that's it. It's game over for them. So be careful for those little plants out there.
That's true.
Yeah, it takes however many years for them to regenerate. It's a while.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of wild. So it sounds like our buddy Stosh on
Inside the Line, the Catskills.
Inside the Line, a great podcast. I know he's been on Slasher a few times. Podcast about the Catskills, which I have not gotten to yet. I believe, Katie, you've gotten down to the Catskills, right?
Yep.
You do some hiking down there?
I've done the Catskills. They're great.
Awesome.
Yeah, he got a plug recently. He actually just sent me a text like 2 seconds ago. He's doing a live show tonight, and we were going back and forth recently about his audio setup and trying to get him set up to go. So he's out there doing his thing, and just recently there was some event. Perhaps it was an outdoor mission or incident. I could be wrong about that, but I believe they talk about chest deep snow and some people like that. But the New York Times gave the podcast a plug. Talk about great PR. So
yeah, seriously.
Congrats, Stosh. That's pretty huge. You're getting some recognition, some well-deserved recognition. It's wonderful.
Congrats.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know it's just him really too, right? So it's.
I think so. I think
tough.
he might have a partner in crime now that he bounced ideas off of. But yeah, good work.
All right. Are you familiar with that podcast at all, Katie? I know you said you don't listen to podcasts a lot, but
no, I haven't heard of that one.
Okay. Yeah, I know he's doing really well. I've not checked it out yet. I also haven't gone to the Catskills, so
you gotta check it out. They're great.
It's on the proverbial list.
Yeah.
Yeah. Went there once as a kid. But my mom was a super hippie, and she took me to some like yoga retreat with, I don't know. It was so bizarre. It was the weirdest experience ever. Everybody, transcendental meditation. That's what it was.
Okay.
So they were all just like, they would disappear for several hours a day, doing their meditation, and it's just pretty interesting.
How old were you when you went down there?
Probably like 6 or 7. Pretty young kid.
So
yeah. But I still have images of it just being there, just imprinted in my brain.
Did you learn how to do transcendental meditation as a 7-year-old?
No, but I was really curious about the whole concept of some of these people actually achieving levitation. Because as a kid, I'm like, wow, that'd be cool to learn. Yeah. How do I learn that?
How many hours do I have to spend trying to learn this?
Apparently some of these people do it. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It's funny.
This was a funny one too. I saw this story. I had so many questions about this. But what is Knobbie doing with skunks now?
Well, he posted a video, and he was chasing a skunk around his yard. So you remember Dairy Queen? They had the flurries or whatever they're called, the ice creams or blizzards, and they had that plastic concave cover. So it's like a plastic cover with a little narrow hole in the top.
Yeah, you can fit the straw through it or whatever.
Yeah. This maybe a 2-inch diameter. So he saw a skunk in his yard with one of those covers stuck around its neck, so that the cup was actually attached as well. So the skunk was, in a sense, suffocating and running around his yard. So the video goes on for maybe 5 minutes. Knobbie getting closer and closer and closer, finally picks the skunk up by the plastic and doesn't get sprayed. It was a miracle.
Wow.
But you got to see the video. It's the funniest thing ever. I think I might have posted the link on the SLASR page, but if you go to Knobbie Hikes, you'll see it. But yeah, he's a hero. He saved a skunk. So now we call him Skunk, of course. That's his new trail name.
Good job, Knobbie. That's impressive. Yeah, I don't think I actually watched it. I saw like a brief, I just saw the preview of it, but that's pretty wild. And kudos to him for just wanting, I mean, it's horrible when you see animals caught with trash like that, but that's tough to do that with a skunk. And knowing the prospect that you might just smell really bad for like a while or have to use tomato juice or something like that.
For sure.
Yeah.
Crazy. Good work, Knobbie.
Yes, great work, Knobbie.
So speaking of rain, it's raining here again right now. And I think this forecast for this weekend is another rainy one.
Yeah, so it looked beautiful. I might have jinxed it because I think maybe even our text channel said, I'm like, oh, it looks like it's nice. And this was like 2 weeks ago. Like this weekend was going to be beautiful. And yeah, now it looks like it's supposed to rain Saturday morning. Maybe nice Friday. But it's brutal.
Never ending.
Yeah. I pulled up this thing. It's like, I guess the rain total since March in Concord has been 7.5 or 7.5 inches, 0.05. That's a lot of rain.
Wow.
And they've been big storms up here. Whenever it rolls through, we get at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches in the Campton Thornton area. It's been wild, but hopefully it'll dry up.
12 consecutive Saturdays with measurable rain. They were saying that's ridiculous.
Yeah. I saw something for the Adirondacks that said this would be the weekend number 30 that.
Oh my gosh, it's even worse.
Precipitation for the weekend. I think the last dry weekend was in November, which is just crazy.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Good news for those of you that like Adirondack mud, I guess, because it's not going away anytime soon. It sounds like.
I don't know that anybody really likes it. Relentless.
Yeah. So this was a super interesting one. I think Stomp, you brought it to Mike and I's attention, but I've seen it since. But it sounds like we have a listener that's carrying his rower or attempting to carry his rower and do some rowing on all of New Hampshire's 48 4,000 footers.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
I don't know. I have no idea. Do you think I started the whole thing with the pool noodle, or was this something that was before me?
I don't know. It could have been because we've got Larry the Log. We've got a couple people carrying different things up that I've seen. I think there was like someone that like hiked the AT with like a leaf blower before. So there's definitely been some things, but a rower just seems super ambitious. So I guess kudos to Dan Forget for trying to do this. And he's hiking up with his rower on each summit. And I think he's at 4 out of 48 so far. And he's trying to do a sub 7 minute 2,000 meters, a modest 2,000 meter row on his rowing machine at the top of each.
Yeah. And it's a legit rowing machine. So I've seen pictures of him hiking up trail. He takes it apart. So it's in two pieces in his pack. I don't know how much they weigh, but they're pretty heavy.
It looks like a lot. I've seen pictures. They would so heavy.
Oh yeah, they gotta be, so that you can row and not have the thing move around.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy and impressive, I guess.
Yeah, Dan might have to read, and we're curious too. I think a lot of people that I've heard asking, and including and also questions that I'm just thinking in my head, but trying to set up that rower on something like Adams or like, I don't know, like Jefferson or something. Maybe Jefferson actually probably wouldn't be too bad if you were like off that little summit cone area, but I just feel like logistically it's going to be really difficult to try to find a spot to set up that rower and do said rowing on top of some of the New Hampshire peaks.
For sure.
Yeah, no kidding. How about like Katahdin's Knife's Edge or something?
Be an epic shot. You see a guy rowing out in the distance on top of the knife edge. Yeah.
Well, good for you, Dan.
Yeah, good for you, Dan. I mean, you talk about originality right there. And I think, and I was going to say, in the event that you decide to like just say Adams and Madison, you row up at Madison, I don't think anybody's going to call you out for like hiking up just there with a rower and doing it a little bit lower. I certainly would not be doing that. So good for you, buddy.
Does anyone know the backstory of like what made him start to do this?
No, that I suggested actually he come on and talk to you guys. I think it'd be great.
Yeah. We'd love to have you on.
Why a rower? It seems like a very heavy piece of equipment. Maybe there was something lighter. I don't know. I'm just curious.
Could do like a squat with some weights or something. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it seems like there's alternatives here.
Oh my God. So are you going to drop the bomb tonight with the dad joke?
I did not look up one ahead of time. I'm not going to lie. So I was going to ask if anybody had one, but I didn't look. We might just have to leave that to Mike in his book of dad jokes.
Yeah, I think we'll take a pass on that one.
Okay.
I have no humor in me this week. I'm a very serious person this week.
Hey, what's that sound? It must be time for the pop culture segment with Mike and Stomp.
All right. So moving on past the dad joke into some pop culture talk.
All right.
So this is about 2 weeks ago. The origination of the musical project, which we've referred to occasionally on the podcast and even at some of the events, but Stomp and I have been working on a cover song of which I believe we had told a while back of Eddie Vedder, Hard Sun. We were working on our own version of it for, I think it's probably been about a year and a half now.
Right.
But we got some studio time in a couple of weeks back. I visited the mysterious Woodpecker Studio North and its cats. And yeah, we laid down some vocal tracks.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think we're like, 99? It's like the doomsday clock. We're 1 second closer. I think we're at like 99%. We just need maybe some backup vocals. I think my daughter might be interested to add some angelic presence to the mix. But yeah, I think we're like just about done. Layering the vocals actually added quite a bit, I think. So it's pretty exciting. I think we can put it in a one of the episodes one of these days. But it's getting there.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Just the early renditions I've heard from it, I'm pretty excited. I think we definitely, and this is more Stomp. I provided some instruments, but like you have a very original take, I think, as far as the beats you set up and everything else that's going on there. It's similar, but it's very different. So I'm excited to hear what people think of it.
Yeah, I think the song angles towards the word hard.
Yes.
I think we took that adjective and ran with it, so it's a little rough around the edges.
There may or may not have been guitar amps literally cranked up to 10.
Oh yeah,
in the Woodpecker Studio North before. So
that was so much fun.
That was a good time. Exciting stuff. And we'll actually drop it in here, but you actually recently shared when I was visiting you, but an awesome review of a great, fantastic book that just came out recently. So we'll hop into that quick.
Yeah, let's check it out.
It's like I'm pissed off that you stopped petting me.
I think we're rolling. Yeah. Hey, we're rolling. All right.
We're live.
Live at Woodpeckers North.
Yeah.
So how's it going? This will be a little catch up, I think.
Yeah. It's going.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went out and finished the Belknaps this morning, did Mount Rowe.
Yeah.
Used an umbrella, joined the umbrella crew. That worked out pretty well.
Yeah. So how big was the umbrella? Like
it
4 foot wide?
It was a golf umbrella I had, yeah. So I don't think it'd work for a lot of trails, but for like that I did the Mount Rowe trail from the Guilford Elementary School, and then the Belknap Range Trail was wide enough that it pretty much covered me up pretty well. So
that's great. Yeah, I used to do that too. It's super handy.
Yeah,
not enough people do it. It's a good option if you want to get out and you're really itching to go.
Yes, I kind of wanted to go, so I'm like, oh look, I was looking at the forecast. I think even like texting you earlier, I was like optimistic. I'm like, it doesn't look that bad. I'm like, it's pouring the entire way up this morning, so it was pretty. It was pretty wet, but yeah, the umbrella worked well. Other than when I got to some open areas, I like had to hold on to that thing. There was some gusts, so I'm like, felt like Mary Poppins almost a little bit. But
that's hilarious.
Good. Yeah, I made it here though. We're live. We're good.
Yeah. We're here to finish up this song. Hopefully, almost. Well, it's like we invited my daughter on to do some backups, but she's sick with the strep, so we're gonna have to repeat
she
that.
Feels better.
Yeah, but we figured we'd talk about this book in a minute. But tell me about the podcast. How's it going with you and Mike?
It's going well. I think it's going pretty smoothly. I think our timing's going well.
Yeah.
Mike had some gremlins a couple weeks back.
Oh yeah. I wanted to talk about that. So what was the major issue with his setup?
I think his laptop took some sort of update. And for whatever reason, he could not get his audio and like his mic to work correctly with the Scarlett and everything. So I think he ended up just plugging directly his old mic, USB mic, into the computer.
Yeah.
And we got that around it. But he was all disheveled because that was on top and after he set up like the studio in his house for everybody, which you did a fantastic job with that mic, by the way, for a guy like you're just shooting me and Stomp pictures back and forth. Being like,
that doesn't work. That's tough.
Like, why isn't this working? I'm like, because you need to plug the out through this thing. But yeah, he did a good job. But I kind of felt bad because I could just hear him like this should be simple this week, and it's like, oh, it's not working like it normally does.
Yeah.
But yeah, gremlins.
It's not easy for a newbie.
No,
it's not easy for us. I mean, you got to look at it and be with it. Pictures, that's tough to work out.
No, there's like stupid stuff. Like even when I was helping you out with the soundboard, like whatever, a couple months back now, you just got to hit like one thing and you're like, oops, why 100%. Isn't this sound? And you're like, Nick, hey.
Oh yeah, it's super stressful. And then it's like you and I had no idea how to use that damn thing too. No. There's too many buttons. It's just sitting over there looking at us.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, freaky, big 12 channel mixer.
The cat seems to have it under control.
Yeah, Daphne's on top of the SLASR banner. Oh man, well that's good.
Yeah, so what's new with you, Stomp?
Not much, just busy, just doing work things and pretty much giving most of my free time to search and rescue. You'll see my new addition over here.
Oh, I like the old school composition book.
Yes, I carry composition notebooks around. Excellent. And I take notes because I found this to be super helpful in college and whatnot to really pound things into your head. And to the left there, you'll see like 4 or 5 others. So when I'm done with this, I'll just probably hand these off to Ty Gagney and he can write a book about it.
Excellent. Is this all just since you took?
It's notes. Oh yeah, I'm like
since you took the new role, you filled out like 6 composition books.
No. I'm like a third of the way through this one, but I'm making notes. Yeah. And Mrs. Stomp makes fun of me. She calls it my diary. So whatever.
I was literally just about to say, like, I'd picture that, like, dear diary.
Dude, that's what she's doing.
Today I did Welch Dickey for the 35th time.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, she's been teasing me exactly like that. When I start writing, she goes, "Dear diary, I'm a little sad today," or whatever. It's so funny. But gosh. So this book is filling up, and I'm having a good time, sort of learning the ropes and managing a pretty sizable group of people.
Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, well, I'm gonna do my best anyway. But anyway, the reason we're here is to talk about a book by an author that we met at the AMC Awards ceremony this year, 2025. His name was Matt Larson. When Mike was gone roaming around, I think I disappeared for a while, and I corralled a bunch of people from different tables, and Matt was like, "Oh yeah, I'll come on over." So when he came over, you and I got to interview him. Right? You were there for that, right?
Yep, I was there. Yeah, he had a booth too, right?
He was directly across from us by the entry door there, and he came by and sat with us for about 20 minutes talking about his book, and he was kind enough to actually give me a copy that day.
Very cool.
And the book, this I guess this is going in the pop section, right? This would be pop section?
Yeah, we'll put it somewhere. I'm not sure. You're listening to it where it is right now.
All right, so it's called 4000s by 40, and it's by Matt Larson, and I literally just finished it this morning. So It's about 300 pages, and this is good timing, actually. I feel like a dad handing this off to his son. How old are you?
I'm going to be 35.
This is perfect timing for you. It really is great stuff. So I was hesitant when I picked this up because I've read so many 4,000 photo books. I'm like, oh my God, if this is just another descriptive book about the 48, I'm going to kill myself. And I was actually talking to Matt in the background about that. And he laughed a little bit, and it's not the case. I think what he did was he used the mountains as a means to an end just to describe his midlife time, his journey through midlife with family, his kids, his work, finding meaning in life and stuff like that. So the mountains are almost secondary to a point. But when he does talk about the mountains, it's great. And it as like a hiker, you and I as hikers, we resonate with that because we're so familiar with what he's talking about. So he really combines these two concepts really well. And he gave me permission to read a couple excerpts here, but I think I'll just read one. Okay. And we could chat about a couple other things. Cool. But and if the publisher sues us, then you want to name Mike McLaughlin as defendant? Yep, Mike McLaughlin, that's your defendant. So check this out. My whole life, I wanted to be a writer, and I spent too much time being afraid to climb that particular mountain. The more I climbed, the more I started to ask myself, how can I look my kids in the eyes and tell them to pursue their dreams if I never do it myself? How can I be of full service to anybody when I shortchanged myself? 40 was prompting me to look at all of the mountains I had been avoiding, so that mine would never be a life of regret. As Chief Tecumseh said, when it comes to your time to die, be not like those whose lives are filled with the fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over again in a different way. And I'm sort of struggling with this because I'm blind. I don't have my glasses on. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. When I read those words, or when I read those words, it occurred to me, this is the only way I want to live. So I really started writing. So that sort of the genesis of this book here, but it's good stuff, man. Couple highlights. He really nails it with all kinds of stuff. You can tell he begins as a noob. Like he goes through the whole, oh my God, I need new gear, like crampons, like he discovers traction. He discovers the gray jays. He discovers what a car spot is all along the way. So all those familiar things that we go through. A couple chapters in particular are fantastic. He's trying to hitchhike up in the North Country. And he just nails the North Country, like middle class, working class, the people that are picking him up. It's really great stuff. Couple other points. I mean, he gets into the stresses of trying to get the 48 done before he turns 40 and starting to question, like, guilt.
And how does he have a few kids?
I think it's 4.
Okay.
I think there are 4 kids, and they're fairly young at the time of the writing of the book. And his wife, Liz, super supportive, but that questioning of, like, how much am I taking away from my time with the family? You're in the middle of this, right? I can
fully relate to that. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have another kid, and we have like a 2.5 going on 3-year-old. So it's a little bit like finishing the winter 48. Like, I definitely felt guilty. Like, I mean, you just do. I mean, even if you leave early and you try to get back early, it's like, but totally. You get to do, but it's also like, you got to do what you love kind of deal. So I don't know. I don't know if there's an easy answer, but anyways.
Yeah. No, well, in this book, she's super supportive, which helps.
Yeah, which my wife was too.
Absolutely helps. Interesting stuff. He goes on to say he calls the doing the 48 a, quote, to-do list for the soul. So it was almost like, trying to find meaning and purpose and fulfillment in his life. But it's really good stuff. I could go on and on and on about it, but I don't want to.
That's cool though, that like whole angle. Cause like you said, I mean, I've read, I'm sure not quite as many books about doing the 48 as you have, but I probably read 4 or 5 by this point. And like you said, like there's only so much you can really talk about, like what Mount Moosilauke looks like, what Mount Washington's like what the trails are like it's cool to hear the full dynamic. Cause I think it is something like everybody kind of goes through. Like, it's not like we're climbing Everest out here, but it is like, it's a big time commitment. Hi, Kat.
Daphne.
She didn't like what I said. Hi. We'll mention you too. You're just chilling down there. But yeah, it is like, and a lot of people are commuting. I mean, there's people that commute to the Whites from like Pennsylvania and other areas too that are even further away. And it's a big thing. Like, it's not just hiking, it's preparing for it and getting here and finding the time and meeting people who do it, who also kind of share the same passion and are passionate about the mountains. So that's cool that he took that angle rather than just being like 1 through 40 chapters, 1 through 48.
No, he doesn't cover all of them either. He just hits the highlights. And there's actually, it's great. It refreshed in my mind that it's really a cycle for anybody that goes through the 48 because there is that common thread of activities and events that happens to all of us. Like, we just, you're a noob, you're learning about it, you learn about what you need for gear and just this and that. And it's awesome.
Cool.
It's such a universal experience for everybody that goes through that list. And so, yeah, it's great stuff. It's super insightful as to just human nature. And it reads like he's probably a 60-year-older. He's good insight. So it's good stuff. So it's 4,000s by 40.
Yeah, my question is too, when did he write this shortly after? While he was going through this before 40, or is it? I was just curious, like how long it's been since he did them in this book, since he actually wrote it.
I think he mentioned that during the interview.
I feel like he did, but
I don't recall. It's been a number of years since he wrote this, so I think he's
not terribly long though. I think right.
Right.
Couple years, so it's not like he's like 50 or 60 now, and he wrote it pretty fresh as he was going through this.
Yeah. So right. Yeah. So now what's next? I mean, that'll be the next question, but I highly encourage him to keep at it because it's good stuff. You look at all these folded pages I have. It's just good stuff.
Cool.
So I hand this to you.
All right. I will check it out next.
Yeah, you get it next.
Thank you.
And don't give it a mic. You won't get anything out of it. He's too old.
Okay. Noted. And thank you, Matt Larson, for passing along a copy to us and being kind enough. That's awesome.
Yeah. He had mentioned that I think it's at the Mountain Wanderer and all the local places. And
excellent.
So 4,000 by 40, Matt Larson, tackling middle age in the mountains of New Hampshire. Great work.
Cool. Check it out.
Later.
Bye.
And we're back. Yeah, Matt Larson. He's a good guy. I really enjoyed the book. And you have it. Have you had a chance to start it up?
I did not start it yet. I'm finishing rereading Ty Gagney's latest book. I have like 20 pages of that left, and then that'll be my new nighttime before bed reading book.
Excellent.
So I'm excited to start it.
So hope the listeners enjoy it if they pick it up. But it's definitely a good read.
Cool.
And let's see, we have 48 Peaks. 48 Peaks is coming up. Oh, by the way, this is the busiest month ever. There's something going on every single weekend, I think. And this is one of them. So 48 Peaks, use your passion for hiking to help end Alzheimer's. Join 400 plus hikers as they climb New Hampshire's 4,000 footers or create their own challenge to support the mission of the Alzheimer's Association. The annual hiker celebration will take place Saturday, June 21st at Tuckerman Brewing with raffles, food, and an amazing community. Hike that weekend or any day you want this summer. No fundraising minimums required, but those who raise $100 will receive the 2025 Performance Grade Purple T-shirt. Let's turn the White Mountains purple to end Alzheimer's. Visit alts.org/48peaks to learn more.
And we've been at it in the show notes, I believe, but if you are interested in joining the SLASR Podcast Alls 48 team, we still have open spots. And Mike said, I think we have like 20 people or something now, including, I think you're doing it too, right, Stomp?
Yeah. I got roped into it.
Awesome. You sound enthused. You're like,
No. I don't mind doing it, but it's such a busy time. I was really reluctant, and especially with the search and rescue stuff of like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this, but Mike decided to say that I was coming, so I ended up having to come.
Okay. No, we know. Well, hopefully it's a quiet day for everything. And yeah, we're planning on getting up Mount Madison, I believe. And our fearless captains, Knobbie and Mike, will be deciding on the route. I think I keep pushing for Watson Path or something slightly different than the normal routes up there, if it's a nice day, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that would be nice. Something different, something a little spicy, who knows. But 20 people, that's a lot. Cool.
Yeah, we're going to have to do subgroups, but should be a blast. Are you doing any of the Alls 48 stuff, Katie, or?
No, I'm not. I might be interested in it, though.
Yeah, well, if you want to join a swashbuckling team going up Madison and it's nice weather on that Saturday, just let us know and feel free to join.
Yeah, I'll take a look at my schedule.
Cool. All right, and then you can get your free stickers at Ski Fanatics. And it's in Campton, right, Stomp?
Yeah, it's right down the road. Exit 28 in Campton.
Awesome. And you can get them at Spinner's Pizza Parlor.
Yep.
Right over in Andover, Massachusetts. I just know that from Mike saying it so many times. He always says like Andover. Is that like a take because Andover's like fancy or something, or like is that just a Mike thing?
Yeah, it is. It's known for that, Andover. For sure. Yeah, It has the preparatory school there. So yeah, there's that vibe for sure.
Never heard that.
But
awesome.
Yeah. Let's see, advertising. Advertise if anybody's interested in advertising with the pod. You can certainly reach out, and we can send you the packages that are available. The swag's available on the Bonfire Shop. It's not quite the season for the hoodies. Those hoodies like fly off the shelves, but the t-shirts and the V-neck tees, classic tees, those are fantastic, great colors. Coffee donations. If you want to donate to the pod, we have a Buy Me a Coffee website, which you can get to from the LinkTree off of the Instagram. And this week we had 4 coffees donated by Alex M., who's been a longtime listener, and he just wanted to give us a congrats on 200 episodes. So thanks, Alex. We really appreciate it. And we really appreciate your support and listening for so many episodes.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. We greatly appreciate it. I actually met Alex at the AMC Rewards ceremony, so that was good to meet in person. Put a face.
Yeah, he came by the table.
Yeah, very, very nice dude.
Hey, hold my beer. It's time to find out what Mike and Stomp are drinking on this week's Beer Talk.
Have you guys been doing the Beer Talk lately, or are you guys all watered out?
We have been, but I don't think I've actually drank an alcoholic beer during the week in a while. I actually am drinking a Guinness tonight, though. So
wow.
So yeah, I've got a Guinness.
A turkey dinner in a bottle.
Yeah, they're actually not that many. It's funny because people always think of them as like a really heavy beer, but they're actually like 110 calories or something in like a 16-ounce can. Like they're not that bad. They're just really dark.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's see. I grabbed a beer from my German stash over here that I've had for 1,000 years. It's Traditions Gebrau, lecker und frisch, a dark lager from Germany. Ooh.
I was going to be like, I need a translation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know what any of that means.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Do you do any beer or anything, Katie? Or
no, I'm drinking kombucha.
Oh, okay, awesome. Ooh.
I don't drink anymore. I'm actually allergic to alcohol, and it didn't really stop me when I was younger. But it's just, okay. I don't feel great when I drink. But I used to like sour beers when I did drink. So there's all those non-alcoholic brewing companies now. And I think a few of them make sour beers. I haven't really tried too many of them, but they're pretty good.
Wow, cool. Yeah, I've been doing the Athletic Brewing Co. beers.
Yeah, those are really popular
recently. Yeah, they're good stuff. They actually taste halfway decent. I've made the mistake. It's funny though. I'm like locked on them. I need to like investigate a little bit more. Yeah. Because I bought like I think it was like Go Brewing Co. or something, and it was an IPA, and it was just awful. It wasn't good at all. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna probably drink these. Tasted weird.
I was never a huge IPA fan. The hops just like punch you right in the face. I don't know. I could never get that acquired taste.
It's funny as time goes on. I was always very much like whatever the hoppiest beer, but I feel like as I've, I guess my palate has matured a bit. I've actually kind of been enjoying lagers and different stuff a bit more than I used to. Mm.
I knew we should have gone left back there. Stomp, don't worry. I know it's this way. I've got a feeling in my gut.
Are you sure you're not about to have a bowel emergency?
Totally. We got this.
But I just blew out my hip. Fell down that gully with my 40-year-old microspikes.
Suck it up, Stomp. It's 4 p.m. We're at 3,500 feet. We got 9 miles back to the parking lot. Your leg may be broken. We got no cell connection, and we can't feel our fingers. But we're finishing all of my list tonight. By the way, I need some water. I'm empty.
I would if I could see what I'm doing, but my headlamp batteries are dead.
You gotta be kidding me. What a chump. This is the last time I hike with you.
Whatever, mister. Do you know me? I have a podcast.
Whatever.
Let's find out what Mike and Stomp have been hiking.
You been out hiking anything recently, Katie?
Yeah, I was up in Maine last weekend.
Awesome.
This past weekend I did the Crockers and Reddington, which was good for the AT portion. And then the second you stepped off, it was super overgrown, tons of blowdowns. It was just completely left to the wild. So made for an interesting second half of the day.
Well, so that's all in that. It's not. It's like near kind of the Bigelows and like across from like Sugarloaf and Spalding, right? Yep. Okay, and that's off that like road that has like legendary status in terms of going down it, right?
That road was just crazy. It was like 3 miles of washout, tons of ruts and stones, and they really need to run a grader over that and fix the culverts. Like some of them were half washed out and like they just put sticks around it, and you would kind of drive around the other side that was super sketchy. And I was like, what if I slide in here? How am I going to get towed out of this road? It was really sketchy. I was a little bit like, once I made it up to the trailhead and I started hiking, had anxiety for the rest of the day, being like, I have to drive back down that road. Not my favorite.
Yeah, Ash and I have got those. We've got those left on the 67, and I think I just am going to avoid that road as long as I possibly can. Yeah, after hearing about it,
for sure. Don't recommend that road. I hope they do a little bit of maintenance on it, because it was pretty wild, and the blowdowns were just crazy. It was every like 20 feet, and everything was just really, really tight. Super easy to lose the trail once you kind of go down the backside of South Crocker and up at Reddington and over. It was really not well maintained.
Any views from any of that part of the hike, or
not really? So South Crocker had pretty good views going up it. A bunch of kind of scrambly sections, really nice views from there. Had a little bit of a lookout north, and Reddington not really.
Okay. much to look forward to, I guess, over there. But yeah, I need like all the, other than Old Spec, I need like that whole area with the Bigelows and the Crockers and Reddington. I've only really done Sugarloaf and Spalding over there, which both had, Spalding didn't have good views. Sugarloaf was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
But looking forward to getting back to that area for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, never been over there. One of these days.
So Stomp, I know you were up helping out with the Canon Cirque series this past weekend, right? With I believe Dave Schitz and Knobbie helped you out too.
yeah, and Mike Edwards, a team member from PEMI.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a new race. It was the inaugural race. This is a 6.5 mile-ish race. Let's see. I think it was like 33 or somewhere around there, 100 feet.
It was
elevation. But it was wild because it was pouring buckets, of course, and part of the race involves running up the Kinsman Ridge Trail from the tram side. And as you know, that's like, it's a terrible trail. Let's just say it. It's terrible.
Very washed out.
Yeah. So we had, it was funny. It's like, I had a radio. My teammate had a radio. So we had to determine where to put Knobbie and Dave. So I asked AI, put these guys randomly on one of our teams, and it gave me Dave, and then Knobbie was on the other team. And I tried it like 2 or 3 other times, and it still gave me the same results.
That's funny.
I got stuck with Dave, which wasn't a bad thing. He's okay.
Are you saying you didn't? Yeah. Like it almost seems like you were trying not to end up with Dave.
No, not at all. He's fine. He's a riot. Yeah, we have a good time. So we ended up going to the first slab, which is at roughly, I don't know, 2,400 feet, somewhere around there. Set up he set up a shelter using his hammock fly. Okay. And we were fairly protected from the rain. And the race started at 9, and like literally within maybe 15, 20 minutes, the first runners came by. They were flying. Wow. These guys were world-class, just flying up Kinsman Ridge Trail. I think they had a cap of 500 runners. There had to have been at least, I don't know, 300 people passing by us at our little station. And then Mark and Mike were at the sort of the call as you're descending the knoll where the view is of Franconia Ridge, and then you have to do that final ascent up the cannon. Okay. They perched themselves right around there because we figured if anybody's going to fall, it's going to be descending that knoll. So everybody did great. No major issues, no injuries that I'm aware of. So it was a fun time. It was a really good time. Oh, Dave and I were cracking up though, because we had my radio playing and we were playing karaoke tunes and like singing and taking requests and just teasing people. It actually was funny. A lot of the people were just laughing their asses off because it was just that moment of levity, like get me out of this misery for just a second. So it was a good time.
That's cool. Yeah. The video, I don't know if you shared it or Dave shared it, but like the video of those people just running up the ledge.
Yeah.
Like by you was insane.
Oh, like,
crazy.
It's very, very impressive.
And the winners were under an hour doing that loop. So like 3,000 plus feet and 6.5 miles or whatever up and over Cannon. Like that's wild. Like I felt good making it to Cannon like under an hour before from that side and thought I was doing pretty well. But those people are just, it's impressive human beings for sure.
Right. The same thing goes for the Mount Washington Road Race. That's 7.6 miles and they come in at an hour. So they're running that speed uphill.
Wild.
Wow.
It's amazing. So.
Yeah, it really is. I've done a couple of races and to see like those kind of people, like I'm not doing it for 8 times. I'm just there for a party piece. Yeah. But it's really impressive to see how, just their ability to do that.
Was it a little bit nerve wracking at all? Like sitting there watching these people like run up that wet ledge, like in the pouring rain, like from your perspective, or
if they were coming down
pretty steady,
if they were coming down it, I would have been really uptight, but going up, it was really not a problem at all. Most people did fine. Everybody had that hands on quads pose the whole way.
Yeah. Nice. Feel the burn. Feel the burn.
Yeah, but no issues. Yeah. Thank God.
Excellent. And well, you guys shortly before really that rain started, so to backtrack a little bit, Mike and I had AMC Core trail maintenance training. I had to re-up because I adopted 3 years ago airline cutoff, and I had to re-up to make you ask that you redo it every like 3 years to kind of just refresh on sort of the techniques for like trail maintenance. And Mike is a fresh adopter who just adopted part of the Baldface Circle Loop Trail. And we both ended up kind of picking the same date. And it was funny, they had us meet on Friday at the White House Trailhead, which is sort of that connector to where Liberty Springs is. And I very much assumed that we'd be over at Falling Waters or Old Bridle Path, given all the work that's going on over there. But the AMC person running it was saying that he kind of was actually nervous about there being too many people going up the trail for us to sort of do a training there. So we actually just spent time on the White House Trail, or as I've always referred to it, that annoying little up and down section before you get to Liberty Springs, or at the end of going back from Liberty kind of to your car. But it was very interesting. Kind of went through it, basically clearing some drainages and all the tools. And we actually got to saw through some different types of trees and stuff. I believe he found like an ash tree, which apparently is very, very hard. He was telling me it was hard to cut through. And then like 10 minutes later, I was feeling my forearms feel like they were going to fall off as I was using a handsaw. So that was interesting. But anyways, after that, we were kind of watching. I think we had planned to go up to maybe Greenleaf Hut and sort of just see if we could get to Lafayette or something before the weather turned on Friday. But just as we finished up, sort of the rain started, or it looked like it was going to move in. So we actually tried to go up to the Watcher, and we kind of looked at each other right as the start of it, and it started raining in Franconia Notch. We're like, it's a no-go. Like, we're not going to go up if it's wet. So I took him to something that you referred to me, Stomp, Harvard and Georgiana Falls.
Oh, yeah. What'd you think?
It was awesome. So this is like the third or fourth time I've been over there, but Mike had never checked it out before.
Really?
So he really enjoyed it. The falls were ripping pretty good. It was a little muddy and wet in the woods, but really pretty manageable, I think. And we actually sort of got a gap in the rain. It was raining, but not pouring, I should say.
Did you guys make it up to the little stone bench in front of the giant falls?
So we didn't go all the way up on top of it. It was starting to pour, like right as we got to like, you know, like you go past like the upper, like Harvard Falls is like on your left, and then you keep going again. Then there's that other waterfall that's like kind of in the pool in front of you.
Yes.
We stopped like right there and didn't go any further up after that. I kind of let Mike know, I'm like, there is another view up there, and you can kind of chill up there on that bench if
it is
you want to, but it, like the heavens were starting to open up on us again. So we're like, we're going to get heading back down, but
yeah,
super cool. And didn't see anybody there. We saw one person walking out, but I swear I've never seen anybody there whenever I've done it either. Which
yeah, it's pretty quiet. Cool. Yeah, it's very quiet. People should know too, when it is high waters, when you're going up trail and you come to the first water crossing to see the first falls, there's a bushwhack that's off to the right, and it's almost a herd path by now. It's so trampled down, so it bypasses all the water crossings and takes you to the very top where the bench is and the giant falls. Okay. You keep an eye out, and you'll see it next time you're out there.
So we found it on the way down because Mike was kind of leading, and I told him every time also I've gone there, I think I go up and come down like a slightly different way because those blazes seem like they're just all over the place as you get higher up.
Yeah, for sure.
But very cool to check that out. So yeah, that was a good time Friday afternoon. And then Saturday, I was watching the weather and happened to wake up. I think I woke up like 5:30, 6 o'clock. And there was a little bit of a gap Saturday morning in kind of the rain action, finally. And I was looking at sort of my spring peaks I needed to be done by like, I think 10 o'clock or so. So I ended up going to do Mount Hale by the Fire Wardens Trail, which I've only done Mount Hale by that way in really the winter before. So it was cool to check that out in the summer. Really nice route up that backside of Mount Hale off North Twin.
Yeah,
very much enjoyed it.
Never seen it.
Okay. Yeah, it branches off. Maybe it's just about a mile in. It branches off kind of on the left. And considering it's an abandoned trail, it's like super easy to follow. And a little bit more gradual than like the Halebrook Trail.
Okay. Hey, I noticed in your note here, it says Cascade and Snows Mountain. Did you go to the high point of Snows?
I did not get to the high point of Snows.
Okay.
Yeah, that was actually, I didn't want to spend too long on my notable hikes, but yeah, I'd done Cascade Path after visiting Woodpecker Studios, and then I looped up just to the ski slopes where the actual chairlift is. I didn't actually go up and over the entire thing. I have been to the top of Snows before though, with Mike Trokey a while back.
Yeah, it's a nice spot for sure.
It's time for Slasher's Notable Hike of the Week. If you want to be considered for the Hike of the Week, simply tag Slasher on your social media post.
All right. Do you have time for notables?
I think so. I think we can probably cruise through them. I'll let you pick this week because Mike always makes me pick, I should say. Or maybe we can let Katie pick even.
All right, fine. Go for it.
All right.
You can list them off and I'll be the judge.
All right. So first off, we have the Grateful Hiker. Numbers 22, 23, and 24 out of 48 with North Twin, South Twin, and down to Galehead. 13.3 miles and 5,092 feet of elevation gain. That is a solid day in the whites for a day hike. Good job, the Grateful Hiker, and congrats. You're halfway through. That's cool. That's always a good milestone. I feel like when I was doing it for the 48, like you definitely start to feel like you're making progress once you reach halfway. So that's very cool. Next, we have Nook 603, aka the guy with the rowing machine. 4 out of 48 on Cannon Mountain. Then we, I literally wrote the person with the rower in the notes, so I thought that was funny. That friggin' hiker, Goodrich Rock.
Another great spot.
It's got that like 20-foot ladder, I guess, that goes up to the rock. It's on a T25. Not sure if it's mandatory or an elective trail.
That's a good question. I don't recall, but it's so worth it. Even the trip up to the boulder is great because you have this gigantic erratic field, and there are other massive boulders just everywhere. It's very impressive.
Cool. Yeah, someone that gets skittish around ladders, I think that ladder would make me a bit skittish.
Yeah, wet, damp. Yeah. Rotten ladders. Nothing like them.
Fun stuff. All right, next, Folkstar. We have a New Hampshire 100 highest. So maybe you know this one, Stomp. East Pond Trail to the Bushwhack to Scar Ridge East to the Osceolas. So not familiar with Scar Ridge East, huh?
Not either.
It's a monster.
Yeah.
It's a monster. The whole Scar Ridge is just absolute brutal.
Yeah, I get confused because there's like the Scour in Waterville Valley. Then there's like, isn't there like a scar on the Tri-Pyramids too?
Yeah, and it's a short bushwhack. It's maybe 0.5 off the trail when you're coming down North Tri-Pyramid. There's a hairpin that before you start descending down. What is that? What's that trail? Pine Bend?
Sabaday.
Is that
Brook?
Sabaday?
Yeah, that goes down the eastern side. Goes down.
Doesn't that go to Arethusa?
No, it goes to Sabaday Falls.
Where's Pine Bend Brook? Where the hell's that?
Pine Bend Brook is off the Kank going up to North Tri.
That's what I'm thinking of. It's
just the other side. Yeah, just the other side.
Got it. So yeah, Scar is actually connected to the top of Pine Bend.
Okay.
On that side.
Okay.
Yeah. Anywho.
Cool. So cranking out another New Hampshire 100 highest. That seems like an adventurous list for sure.
Oh yeah.
So next we have NH Mountain Goat Girl. I like that handle. That's cool. Castle Ravine and the Castle Ravine Trail. I have not gotten over to either of these yet. I'm overdue to try those in that side of Jefferson.
Great. One of my favorites.
Yeah, I've never done them either.
Yeah, that whole, like, basically, I guess, the northwestern side of Jefferson I have yet to get over to. Been on Randolph Path, but that's really about it.
The lower half of Castle Ravine is a lot of, like, mossy rocks, like King Ravine. But it's, like, cross water crossings, and it's a lot. But the upper half is, like, once you get above tree line, was great.
Are they both T25s, too?
I am not sure. I think they might be.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Marley Sue 2, right in Stomp's backyard, Welch Dickey Loop.
Yeah, I didn't get the invite.
Really?
Everybody does Welch Dickey, and I tell them, you got to give me the invite.
It really is quite close to where you are too. I can vouch for that. It's literally within minutes.
Oh yeah.
Right. D-Delay. This was interesting. D-Delay. Mount Flume to Haystack, up the Flume Slide, down Falling Waters, and past Cloudland Falls. So I feel like you don't hear people doing that too much. So cool to be different, D-Delay.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. A little bit backwards, but it's still kosher if you're up for the challenge.
Yes. Then we have our friend Summit Snack Attacks doing a white wall bushwhack. I've heard crazy things about this one too. And he was saying apparently it's the second steepest slide in New England.
It's really steep, and it's a lot of loose rock. Like, it's very worthy of the name, for sure.
Okay. Have you done that too, Stomp? I'm assuming.
Yes, I did it at night on a rainy night.
Oh boy.
Oh my God.
Oh boy. This is Stomp's past life.
Yes. And as a matter of fact, I was just talking with Summit Snack Attack about the Lowell shoot today. He's getting the bug. I'm like, dude,
you show him the video.
Take a pass. No, I directed him to my blog, and it's actually really funny. It pops up when you type in Lowell shoot. My blog on that stupid trip is number one. It's like there's only 2 listings for that particular location. It's crazy.
It's wild. So you're like one of the only people that's ever filmed anything on the Lowell shoot, probably.
I think my footage,
shared it, I should say.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my footage is pretty detailed, in depth, and it does capture how terrifying it is in there. There's like one other ice climbing one, and then there's this 1970s father-son duo doing it in the summer, which is all right too. But there's not much out there about this crazy place. For people that aren't aware, it's a gully that's on the western side of Mount Lowell, looking at Carrigain, and it never gets sun. It's super brittle, and it should be closed. Signs should go up. Do not do this.
So I know, not to jump ahead with Katie, but I know Katie you're a climber as well. But I believe, like Stomp, you were saying the rock's so loose that you couldn't actually
no rope.
Get anything you couldn't get anything to do it, which I guess adds to the sketchiness.
Yeah, I mean, the closest comparison is the left gully. If for those of you who've done the Watcher, you have the option of going to the left, which is super steep, the last 20 feet, and you have to plan your hand and footholds and then just go for it. It's like that times 5 or 6. It's a series of steps, and each head wall is about 20 feet high, but brittle, so you don't even know if the handholds are going to work. So you could grab something that looks okay, and then it just pulls right out. It's crazy in there. No fun.
My palms sweaty. Just when you talk about it, it literally makes my palms sweat. All right.
Oh, God.
So we got a lot of notables, but it's bringing up good conversations. So that's cool. Our friend Dave Shits in the Woods kind of shared us some videos with that Cannon Mountain Cirque race kind of going by. So that was cool, Dave. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's not notable worthy, but it was very cool.
I'll be the judge.
Okay. Did you pay him off, Dave? In my contract, it told me I couldn't give it to you. So, all right, we have a dog. Mike would be all over this. Arlo the Beagle, Mount Success for 26 out of 52, and apparently this pup actually has bionic hips. So that's pretty neat. I didn't know that was something that they did with dogs. That's very cool.
Oh wow! Like hip arthroscopy?
Yeah, like
total.
Yeah, like hip replacements. It sounded like, which was pretty neat. Yeah, and doing also what a country.
Yeah,
super
no
cool.
Kidding. That's amazing.
Yeah, and Mount Success. I'm jealous. I did not get Mount Success is a 52 of the view. I did not get a view from, and I need to get back. So I'll have to check it out one day.
Cool.
Knick-Knack 7, Adams and Madison for 16 and 17 out of 48. That's always a beast day, and beautiful peaks. Looked like she had some really nice weather up there as well, so that's great.
That's always nice.
Murphy is my sidekick was up kind of, I guess, not directly where Katie was, but also in Maine, but North Traveler Mountain in Baxter State Park. Not sure if I think it's on A-list, and I've seen pictures of it before, but not familiar with North Traveler Mountain at all. Either of you been up that area, Baxter?
Yeah, I've done the Traveler's Loop. It was a couple of them. One of my favorite hikes in Maine. I really, really loved it.
Okay.
Had a little bit of everything. Lots of scrambles, lots of above tree line, scree, boulder fields. Like, it was just great.
Excellent. David hikes and bikes Frankenstein Cliffs and Arethusa Falls loop. So he was ambitious this day, and then he went on to Eisenhower to finish his 48. So he's like pre-gaming with Frankenstein Cliffs and Arethusa Falls before the finish. But big congrats on finishing your 48, David hikes and bikes.
Yeah,
and
congrats.
we have our friend. Yes, congrats. We have our friend Liz Fay, who did a solo bushwhack to Hutchins, Pilot Ridge Middle Peak, Pilot Ridge Southeast Peak, also known as Mount Mary, for 98, 99, and 100 out of the New Hampshire 100 highest, which there's actually 104 peaks on this list.
Yeah.
So nice job, Liz Fay.
Yeah, Liz is
Have you done those, Stomp?
Say it again.
Have you done those, Stomp?
Not those in particular. Nope, I have not. But I have hiked with Liz a number of times now, and she's a lot of fun to hang out with, and very competent, skilled bushwhacker. She's out there killing it for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I had the pleasure of hiking with her when we did Randolph and Crescent, and we did one of the, I think, North Randolph, which was a very, very short bushwhack, but that was a lot of fun when I did that with her and Dave. But hopefully get out with you soon again, Liz. Our friend Jeez Louise Hoops actually finished the hula hooping on the New England 67 on Mount Katahdin. So that was pretty neat. Looked like she got over to Baxter and Hamlin Peak. And I think she was saying that she thought she was probably the first person to hula hoop on all the 67. And I'm thinking that's probably hers. Probably hers.
She's so cool. Her videos are great.
Yeah, I enjoy. I try to share them out whenever she tags us, but I enjoy watching what she's up to all the time.
Oh man,
awesome! So that was a long list.
That is a long list. I mean, I'll give a couple runner-ups here.
Okay,
for sure. I think D-Delay Flume, the Flume loop is pretty cool. That's different. It's a little risque coming down, falling waters and all that. But and I wonder when people say flume is if it's the trail or if it's the actual slide itself, because there's a big difference. That's a nice trip. If for anybody that's looking for a really nice slide, the actual flume slide is something to investigate. You follow the trail in Flume Slide Trail, and the second you hit the first ascent, so it's a large granite slab, you just bushwhack right into the left, and you'll eventually start hitting the lower boulder field of the slide, and then from there you just make your way up. It's a really cool trip. So that's a cool notable mention. Summit Snack Attack for sure. White Wall is a beast. The thing about White Wall, that slide is super active. You can't, like some slides, you put your feet on boulders and they're stable. It seems like every rock, every step you take, there's something moving, and it's pretty unnerving after a couple hours.
Yeah, for real. You have to wait every step.
Yeah. It's very, very active, which is, it's freaky. Let's see, where am I here? So Dave Schitz, I'm going to have to give him a notable here. Not first place, but a runner-up, because, hey, let's think about it. It's public service. He's doing a good deed for the day for the community. So nice job, Dave. You don't get the big enchilada, but you're getting there.
Good job to all of you, for that matter, Mark, Stomp, and you guys all going out there and helping out with the Cirque Series, and also forgive me for forgetting the PEMI team member name as well. That also
Mike Edwards, Mike.
Yes, good job, Mike.
Good guy. And then in first place, I'm going to give it to Folkstar. Scar Ridge East is no joke, and especially to attach it to the Osceolas, that's a hell of a day. So that's my number one. I'm a little fond of the Bushwhackers, so this week is Folkstar.
Awesome. Good job, Folkstar.
And there was much rejoicing.
And there was much rejoicing.
All right, Katie, you ready for your big interview?
Yeah.
You ready? You warmed up for like an hour?
Let's jump into it.
It's time for Slasher's Guest of the Week. Very cool, very cool.
All right, Katie. So I think the first time it probably came up in like my suggested follows, or maybe there were other friends I had that also followed you on Instagram, but I think I first saw some of your pictures and stuff and your adventures through Instagram, through social media. It kind of caught my eye too, because I've noticed like you're kind of out in the Adirondacks, you're out in Maine, you're in New Hampshire a bunch, kind of getting all around, which you don't always see. A lot of people, it seems like, kind of stick to the whites, and that kind of seems to be their thing. And I just always kind of notice when people are getting around the greater Northeast a bit. And I know that you also climb and you hike. So without further ado, do you want to kind of introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Katie. I am an avid hiker, climber, snowboarder, anything in the mountains, adventure, or anything really that's kind of adrenaline related. Really just love to do a lot of that stuff. It gets your blood flowing, and so I kind of got into the outdoors. I've always been kind of outdoorsy. I grew up kind of all over, but a lot of time I spent in New Hampshire, and hiking was kind of more casual for me until a couple of years ago. I've been snowboarding for kind of, since I was a teenager too. And I had gotten back into snowboarding a little bit more a couple of years ago after I had moved to Connecticut, and it kind of fell off a little bit because I was further away. And snowboard season ended, and I was kind of just not sure what I wanted to do on the weekends now that I wasn't snowboarding. And I had hiked around Connecticut, kind of in the central and southern areas. Nothing too crazy for elevation, but I had kind of exhausted all of my options around here and had some stuff that I wanted to do in the Hudson Highlands and the Catskills. And so I recruited one of my friends, and we went for a couple hikes, and then I just never stopped. It kind of just turned from a casual hobby to this kind of all-consuming fire that I just haven't stopped since.
Very cool. That's awesome. And I did have the pleasure of meeting you in person one time. And it's funny. It's always interesting, and I'm sure everybody, especially in the day of Instagram, is familiar with this, but what people look like a little bit from you see them on Instagram or whatever, and you might follow them hiking. And it's always funny when you end up crossing these people in person, because especially once you get into the winter hiking or things like that, there's just not as many people out there doing the thing. Or for example, if you're doing different bushwhacks or things, if you cross someone, odds are they kind of probably are having similar interests and kind of chasing maybe lists that you're chasing. But we did cross on the Osceolas, I think maybe right before the Chimney this past winter, something like that, on a pretty cold early December day. I think it was actually the first day of winter. We were out trying to get on it. But are you working on any hiking lists or winter lists or anything like that?
So my take on the lists might be a little bit of a hot take. Yes and no. So
that's all good.
I do the lists, but I don't do the lists. I think that they're great for novelty. I want to see everything. And I think that they're a great way to stay organized doing that. But I don't really keep track, and I don't keep a running count. I don't turn in tally sheets. Except for with one exception, the first list that I finished was the Catskill list, and I did turn in a tally sheet for that one, and so that's the only list that I've officially finished. But I am working on them. I do want to see everything, and I kind of look at it I don't want to be beholden to a list. I don't want to be tied to it. I want to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And even if I'm working on something, it's kind of in the background. I'll finish it when I finish it. And if it's a repeat, then that's fine. So I am working on the 115. I'm a handful of hikes away from wrapping that up.
Awesome.
Probably I got to be up over 100 at this point. So.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's been a pretty crazy couple of years to finish that. So it's been good.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. And something I'm definitely tentatively working on as well with the 115, but it was funny at the AMC Awards ceremony. I ended up attending this past one with kind of our crew, and me and Mike got our Winter 48 awards. But they were saying that to do the Northeast 115, it's basically, people think of it, it's a hell of a lot of hiking, but it's also a hell of a lot of driving between New York and Maine. Now, where are you in Connecticut? I was curious, are you kind of equidistant to the Adirondacks as the Whites, or is it it's more a little bit to
closer,
the Adirondacks?
To the Adirondacks. I'm in southern, very southwestern Connecticut. Right above the little tail on Connecticut. So to the Catskills, it's 1.5 to 2-ish hours away. Adirondacks is 3.5 to 4.5, depending where. And then the Whites My brother actually lives in New Hampshire, so I have a stopping point in southern New Hampshire where I'll go up and spend the weekend with the family. So it kind of breaks the drive up. It's 3 hours to his house, and then usually a couple hours, an hour and a half or to 2-ish in anywhere in the Whites. So that has definitely been helpful to have a place to crash. This helps me a lot with not just the New Hampshire peaks, but the main ones and Vermont too. So, and it's nice to see my family too, because I don't have any immediate family here in Connecticut. So it's nice to be able to see them more often as well.
Oh, that's great. And you can do some hiking on the way there or the way back, or kind of whatever. That's cool.
It's crazy. I have friends that like totally blew out their cars pursuing these lists.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. I mean, I do a ton of driving. Everybody's kind of like the trip to Maine. I was in New Hampshire this past weekend, and my brother's really into dirt biking, and my sister-in-law and my niece and nephew just got into it too. So we all went dirt biking on Saturday, and then I was like, I think I'm going to drive to Maine. And from my brother's house, it was like a 3.5 hour drive. So that was a lot of driving on Sunday there, back, and then back to Connecticut.
So as far as what you got left in that handful, is it mostly the main stuff, or have you finished the Adirondacks? Or?
I have a couple left in the Adirondacks. I think maybe 3 or 4 hikes left with cause some of them are grouped together, and then the Bigelows, Spalding, Abraham, Sugarloaf, and then North Brother in Maine.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, it was funny. I think I saw a post where you were posting about the Santanoni range, which I haven't gone to any of those Adirondack peaks yet that aren't known for views and stuff. Yeah. And the picture, I think two people underestimate when people talk about Adirondack mud. You should look at some of the pictures that Katie had on this, because it's you wouldn't think it was the trail. The trail is essentially a bog, and then someone where I actually crossed his Instagram handle is Brian Hikes All Day. I think he's on the Northeast 115 in winter, which is a super kind of more rare achievement among hiking lists. But he actually commented that the bog didn't look that high, actually, that it actually didn't look that bad. So I'm like, what does it look like when it's really bad then? What is it, waist deep water kind of that you're trudging through?
It seems pretty deep to me. He's definitely more of an expert. He would know. I remember at one point I was going across it and using, my poles kind of to balance on those
oh my gosh
logs. And I stuck it in, and it sunk all the way down to the handle. And I was like, well, I don't want to go in face first either. I'd rather just kind of slide off the log. So I don't know that was the best idea strategy to cross that, but I made it out fairly unscathed. You're never gonna avoid the mud. That whole hike, the Santanoni range, was you go up Santanoni Road, and as soon as you get off the road, it was just mud for the entire day. There was no relief. It really slows you down. But it's the season, it's spring and everything's melting, and they have gotten a ton of rain. So now's as good a time as any.
Jeez.
Definitely a fog.
Do you have now in your travels, do you have any is there any favorites between the Whites and the Catskills and the Adirondacks and what Maine's got? Or
I think overall the Adirondacks are my favorite. They have everything that I really like. They're super challenging. They're really steep. They're really scrambly. They got a lot of slabs, a lot of technical stuff. If you like that kind of stuff overall, you're going to have a great time in the Adirondacks. And I think that you can definitely find that in the Whites, especially in the presidentials. But overall, I think that the Whites are a little bit not quite as rugged as the Adirondacks. But each kind of range has, a special place in my heart, and different things that I like about it. So I don't know that I could really pick a favorite.
Yeah, that's tough. I'm always curious. And I think it too maybe depends on your perspective of where you've hiked first and kind of and whatnot too. But speaking of scrambling and steep trails, you also rock climb as well, right? And ice climb?
Yep. So, the kind of progression through hiking is, you just work on harder and harder stuff the more you do. And that just kind of led into...
maybe. I don't know if I have a desire to strap up a rope yet and climb rock face.
I'm always looking to kind of like, what's the next thing?
That's super cool.
It's led to more mountaineering, climbing, and then some split boarding this year and ice climbing. So this past year was my first year climbing, and it's been great. I've really, really liked it. And initially I didn't really want to rock climb. I wanted to just learn how to ice climb. It's just so cool. I don't know. Rock climbing, I was like, I don't know. It's just hot and doesn't seem as fun. And my friend that I climb with, he has a ton of experience. He's been climbing for like 20 years and worked at the Boston Rock Gym and was a guide. And so he has very graciously and patiently taught me a lot about the sport. And it was like, I really think you should try rock climbing. It'll be a lot easier to kind of learn the rope stuff when it's not freezing cold and the ropes are frozen and your hands aren't working. So, and I ended up really liking it. So I'm really glad that he kind of pushed me to do that. But I'm really excited to get out rock climbing this summer. I hope that we can kind of get out a little bit more than we did last year. It's tough. I have so many hobbies that I like to do. So kind of spreading everything around, leaves me wanting more for each thing. And they're, I work, so it's, I can't just go and do everything that I want to do.
Yeah, I think one of the ice climbs that I noticed that you were sharing was you guys like went up the Willie Slide, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or like somewhere around there. That seems so cool. Like just looking up at that thing, I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. That was actually my first day out ice climbing, and
oh wow.
Yeah,
okay.
It was
cool.
That's a real it'll burn your calves. I was like, oh, man. But it was really, really fun. It was a cold, windy day though. So we were just kind of, you're very exposed on that one. So the wind was just kind of cutting right through us, but it was a really great climb, and the views are just incredible in Crawford. So I really enjoyed that one.
You really need a mentor, I think, to get into climbing.
Yeah.
It just seems sort of overwhelming. I think that's one of the biggest problems I've had. I've had a couple people offer, but I mean, and then the investment to do it right with the right gear and everything else, it's somewhat of a hurdle for people.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I always kind of had an interest, and if I didn't have, my friend who did it, I don't know how I'd get into it. Cause I don't really know anybody else who does it, and it does take some help.
For sure.
Yeah, it's neat in today's day and age too, where it's like that's not something you're just gonna look up a YouTube video by yourself and buy the equipment and like, let me go up to the Cannon Cliffs and see what I can do. Like you do need it's cool that that's still and I mean it's like an art form, it seems like, with that stuff too, where it's like you're looking at the terrain and actually seeing what you can. Obviously there's established climbing routes, but I always thought that concept too of like you can kind of think about climbing anything. Like it must really open up. Like when you look at the whites, you as a climber, you must look at them just a totally different way than if you're just cruising through as a hiker. Or even the Adirondacks, there's so many open slabs and slides and different things like that. Like it must open up all these different routes. Like that. I mean, I just walked by the Mount Colden Trap Dyke and I'm like, I cannot believe people actually go up that without rope.
I can't wait to do that. It's like at the top of my list. As soon as it dries out, I'm there.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
it's been on my list for like a year.
That's wild. Good for you. That it's cool to see that progression and kind of hear about how you're like, okay, now I want to try climbing now. I'm like, I'm envious.
I really, really like it. It's so much fun if you have a chance to get out and try it. Even if it's just, it's kind of sport climbing. There's lots of climbing over in Rumney. Like it's really fun.
Rumney looks cool. We always do that. What is it? Eagle Cliff? Is that the peak right above it? Is it Eagle or is it? It escapes me, but the cliffs come up to a summit with like a mile trail. It's like a mile 1.2 or something like that, but it's a beautiful view.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I really want to get my friend down here because I'm pretty close to the Gunks, and there's a ton of climbing here. It's maybe like an hour away from me, so I'm trying to get him to come down and get us out climbing there.
Is that the Shawgunks?
Yeah.
Okay, in New York.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe I know just from our mutual friend Jake, who's a climber. I've heard him talk about climbing down there before.
Yep.
And I'm like, I know I've heard that before somewhere.
Yeah.
Cool. So, and I know you do have quite a bit of hobbies. I did want to touch upon the split boarding and skinning up kind of thing a little bit. I actually hit you up because I was looking at buying a split board later in the winter. But how's that going? Is that something that you just tried this year too?
Yeah, or? I just got into it this year. I've always kind of wanted to, and I just had never really pulled the trigger. And this year I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. And I really love it. It's so much fun. It just opens up, a lot more options. And I did a few resorts because a lot of places have uphill policies, which are, it's just easy to do that, especially for like a sunrise or something. If you're solo, which I do most of my stuff solo. But I did a couple things on Mount Washington. I didn't do Tux this year because it just, every chance I had, it wasn't great conditions. And I don't think I'm an expert snowboarder by any means. I'm probably pretty mid, but so I don't want to dive into that if the conditions aren't kind of perfect. But I really wanted to do Gulf of Slides this year, which I didn't get to do. So that's definitely on the list for next year. We skinned up to Hermit Lake, and then we just went down Sherburne, which was pretty cool. It was a little bit icy and patchy when we did it, which was kind of wild because I think it was in January, like mid-January, and the conditions were like, which...
That's probably right before all the snow started really dumping this year, I think.
Yeah, it was. And I had done the COG a few weeks before, I think, and it was great below Jacob's Ladder. And then as soon as you got above Jacob's Ladder, it was just, it had rained recently and that all froze. And then there was like an inch or two of snow on top of that. So it was a little bit questionable from Jacob's Ladder to the summit. And then coming down, my gear just took like a huge beating. And I ended up just taking off my board and kind of walking down because I was like, I just kept like scratching it a lot.
Just with like rocks?
Oh,
or
yeah,
just
yeah. There was no real coverage. It was just ice and then a couple inches of snow. So I couldn't tell what was what, like with the drifts too. So I would, hit a rock here, hit a rock there. And I just was like, we probably shouldn't have summoned it today. But we made it back down. We were as safe as we could. And below Jacob's Ladder was a great rip. They had a bunch of snow, so it was pretty good.
Now, as far as like split boarding up, and because basically you just put skins on, like you're skinning up with skis, right? Have you ever skied before? Like, because I'm curious, like, what's the experience necessary needed on like just putting on a split board, I guess, like skis and kind of skinning? Like, is there any sort of learning curve to that, or
no? Not really. No? I did ski when I was a kid. Maybe I think I stopped skiing when I was maybe 10 or so, and then we had moved out to the Midwest for a couple of years, and then when we came back, I switched to snowboarding because that was like the cool thing to do at the time, and that's just kind of what I stuck with. And when I was buying a split board and all the setup and everything, and I was kind of like, oh man, if I skied, this would probably be a little bit easier to like, there wouldn't be so much transition, and it would probably be a little easier, but there's no real learning curve to it. I think the only time I really kind of got a little bit like not uncomfortable, but like, I don't ski, I snowboard. So like, even if I have the skins on and I kind of go down a little bit of a decline and I get a little bit of speed, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like it slows you down, but you're still moving a little bit. And as a snowboarder, I'm kind of like, wait, I don't actually know what to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but it's pretty easy. It's pretty intuitive. I think if you're comfortable on it, then like on a snowboard, you should be fine.
Cool.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, we're going through all your winter hobbies. This one and I think I just noticed this, but did you ever fly helicopters?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. When I was younger, I wanted to be a helicopter pilot, and it seems like a totally previous life at this point. But it was a really great experience, a lot of really cool, fun memories. And I didn't end up going through and getting all my ratings. So it just kind of fell through with a lot of the financing portion. I think was right around 2008 when everything was kind of crashing, and Sally Mae was the lender, and that was a disaster. So it just didn't end up working out, but really grateful for that experience. I have a bunch of hours, like maybe 140 or so, and probably 40 or 50 solo hours. So just really cool.
So you were like fully ready that you were able to do the whole thing. That's kind of cool. I didn't know if it was like sort of like you had tried it a few times, but you were like legit helicopter pilot.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't fly commercially because I didn't go through and get my ratings. So you have different stages of ratings, and my goal with that, I wanted to fly for Blackwater, which at 21, 22, I was like, this is definitely the coolest option, and looking back, I'm like, maybe not the safest. Like they pay really well, but there's a reason that maybe it might not be super safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always fascinated with some of the stories like in Ty's books about the helicopter pilots flying the Blackhawks and the Whites and stuff and assisting with those search and rescues. It's pretty incredible, some of the stuff that they can do.
Yeah, for sure.
In those machines.
I had, when I was in school, I was bartending, and someone higher up than like the National Guard used to come in all the time, and he's like, just get your private rating and like, please come and join the National Guard and fly for us. And I was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, life just kind of took me in a different direction, but that was a really cool experience, to kind of hang on to.
Awesome. So any future plans for just going to kind of continue hiking around the Northeast? Are you looking at getting out of the Northeast and hiking, or doing anything else in the future, or just sticking around here?
Yeah, I'd love to get out a little bit more. So for the past 8.5 years, I've actually been pursuing a degree while I've been working full time as well. And I just graduated in May. So that's
congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's been a long time coming. I'm very glad to be at the end of the road. It's just going to free up a lot more time. Like for, the last 8.5 years, I really haven't been able to plan a lot of vacations the way that I've wanted to, especially in the winter, because all of my favorite things to do are in the winter, and it's my favorite season. And I always want to go out west or, do something fun. And I have to plan it around school. It just never has really worked out. So I'm really excited that my schedule's kind of opened up a little bit more, and I don't have any, kind of crazy trips planned. Actually, I'll be in West Virginia this week, and then I have a trip to Baxter planned for the end of the month, but nothing really beyond that. But I have, a lot of ideas and definitely want to get out of the Northeast, but I'll continue to hike in the Northeast, climb in the Northeast, just until I get some stuff on the books.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing what you're up to next and your next adventure for sure. And also I'm thankful too. I think you traded intel with me a few times on like Adirondacks a few times, like trail conditions or stuff like that. So I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I think sharing that kind of information is super valuable.
Yeah. Any last questions, Stomp, Katie, before we head into some SAR news? Or
I think I'm good. It's like you're a snowboarder. I'm an old school snowboarder. I was riding like a 180 back in the day, and it's really cool to see the industry starting to go back to the long boards, Alpine boards.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. There's nothing like it. I'm trying to talk my wife into snowboarding, but she's more drawn to skis. I'm like, oh no.
Why?
Too many things to think about.
Yeah.
But
my nephew just got into skiing this year. My niece, so my brother and my sister-in-law also snowboard, and my niece wanted to snowboard. So my nephew was like, no, I want to ski. I was like, you're going to be the odd one out. I don't know if you want to do that. Yeah. I'm like, we can't help you because you're on skis. I don't know what to do.
It does seem like a lot of resorts. I think the only one, and again, like we only get out like 3 or 4 times every winter, and my wife Ash, like all of our family skis, and then I started to learn how to snowboard maybe around like college age or something. I had a buddy that had to use snowboard and got his boots and stuff. But it seems like most resorts, like it's definitely ski dominant still. Other than when we went to J Peak over the winter, and I saw more snowboarders than I've ever seen. Wow, yeah. Like it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, it still seems like I don't know. I am a snowboarder. We're all snowboarders, but I think snowboarding just looks way cooler than skiing. Like it's just, to me, it's like watching someone surf a wave or watching someone skateboard. It's just more interesting than watching like skis or rollerblading or something. Yeah. But it's just my opinion. Cool. All right. Well, you ready to hop into some SAR news?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're overdue. All right, let's do it. Okay, so multiple people sent this to us, and we were kind of following this, but a very sad story out of Baxter State Park. Father and daughter found dead near Maine's highest peak. So not something we ever like to see in the news.
Yeah,
really
it's a
sad
shame.
story here.
Yeah, it was really sad.
Yeah, so they confirmed that they died from exposure during bad weather. They were 2 experienced hikers. They left Abel Campground last Sunday to hike to the summit of Katahdin. And it's not clear if they planned to stay on the mountain Sunday night, but they faced extreme weather conditions at the summit. Ultimately, I'm not sure if they got lost or went off trail or what, but that's a shame. It's heartbreaking. Ugh. Yeah, it's been such an awful spring. You know what I mean? It's like you can only imagine what it was like up there when we were getting a foot of snow here just 2 weeks ago. It's wild.
Yeah, and that whole open area. I mean, I've only been up to Baxter once, and did a hike of Baxter State Park, and we did Hamlin Baxter Peak, and that whole Tablelands area just seems like it seems, if you haven't been up there, it's like akin to like the Northern Prezzies, except like an even bigger scale. Like I would say, like it's just this flat alpine area, and it's just really rock everywhere. I couldn't imagine if you're like being familiar with it, but especially if you're not from around there and it's like your first time hiking. Like if we were in the fog up there, like I could see it being pretty scary as far as navigation. Never mind if you're hypothermic and the weather's pretty bad. Definitely not somewhere you'd want to be.
Yeah, that's awful.
So all our condolences, best to the families and friends. Really horrible story. Really sad. All right, so I did place this story after here to try to perk up our spirits a little bit. But and this is from the Adirondacks. But tripping hikers mistakenly reported a companion's death in the Adirondacks. So this is just wild. And we had a couple people send this one to us too. So 2 Adirondack hikers called 911 to report a third member of their party had died, but it turned out they had just taken hallucinogenic mushrooms and were mistaken. So forest rangers responded to the call on a Saturday about a hiker who had reportedly died on Cascade Mountain, a popular summit in the Adirondack High Peaks. So it's like, if you haven't been out to the Adirondacks in that area, Cascade and Porter are kind of like, get off the highway, it's like 2,200 feet, Katie, or something. It's like, it's a pretty short hike up to Cascade. Like it's not, that's what I think is crazier about this story, is like, it's not a very, compared to some of the hikes out there, it's like a really short, straightforward hike. Yeah. Like you just kind of go up. But apparently not if you're on hallucinogenic mushrooms, not quite as easy. But yeah, they basically reported that they thought their friend died. basically they told the steward on the mountain summit that they were lost. So it sounds like they were just mistaken. They were having a trip. The ranger escorted the hikers down to an ambulance, and took them to the hospital. And then they actually brought the third hiker, who was not dead, down to a campsite where they all met up later. So luckily everybody was good.
Sorry, did they get separated and then they thought he was, or like, were they all together? Like, that's a part of the story that I was kind of unclear on.
It sounds like it, and this isn't even this. Yeah, it doesn't actually say in here, but I would guess that one of them got separated and they just assumed that he died.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems kind of a stretch. And again, it's like a 2.5 mile, like it's not a very long hike to lose somebody.
Yeah.
If anything, you might lose someone in a crowd up there and think that someone else is your friend following you and they're not. I could see that happening. Or pretty wild. So basically took them the hikers were brought to an ambulance and took them to the hospital. I'm guessing giving them some sort of deal to get them off their trip and kind of come back to reality a bit. So that was kind of a wild story.
Yeah, for sure.
It happens more than you know.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I believe Mike likes to call it a vision quest. I always think of that guy that was like naked on like the Zealand Falls hut, like whatever, 2 or 3 years ago, and was like scaring people away or something.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wild.
The fish and game officers had to go coax him down.
That's wild. I can only imagine getting that call and be like, wait, what's going on? What's happening out there?
Yeah, that's nuts.
Oh gosh. So stay off the drugs, kids. Stay off the shrooms, or maybe at least if you're not familiar with their effects. So another kind of tragic story. This is coming out of Arizona, Scottsdale, and it sounds like a popular hiking influence was actually found dead about 600 feet off a hiking trail near Scottsdale, Arizona. So the deceased was identified as social media influencer Hannah Moody, whose hiking and faith-centric Instagram had about 45,000 followers. So kind of goes into a little bit more detail about her trip plans and stuff, but just kind of a sad story. And I know there's tons of these influencers out there and stuff. So I don't know.
Heat exhaustion.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful out there in the desert. I mean, I've only hiked in the desert a few times, but that heat and the dryness out there is just a totally different ballpark, especially if you kind of grow up in the Northeast or New England, like where we live.
I
don't know how to deal with it.
Last year, we covered heat pretty well because remember last year we had a really hot, very, very humid summer. I'm not sure what's going to happen this summer, but we may have to revisit that topic soon just to get people geared up for what to expect.
Yeah, that'd be good. We were actually right around this time of year last year. I remember, because I was up around Juneteenth doing trail maintenance. It was like 90 something degrees, even in like Gorham, which was hot.
It was brutal. Stagnant air.
Yeah.
Brutal.
I heard that she was a pretty experienced hiker. And she always carried like a ton of water. So I was waiting for some more details to kind of come out on that story, see if something had happened, because it seemed like she knew what to do, and was pretty prepared.
Yeah. Let's see if there's any more updates on this. All right. Then going into some local news. And actually we were just kind of talking about this with the Zealand Hut, but hiker assisted on the Zealand Trail in Bethlehem. So this happened June 2nd, approximately 2 p.m. on Saturday. It happened on May 31st. The article was released on June 2nd, but approximately 2 p.m. on Saturday, May 31st, a New Hampshire Fish and Game was notified of a hiker in need of assistance along the Zealand Trail in Bethlehem. So the one at the end of the Zealand Road goes right up to pretty much Zealand Hut, more or less. The hiker had planned a trip to Zealand Hut to spend the night and do some fishing. So I was actually curious if you could fish up there because there's so many streams and tributaries and stuff. I imagine there's got to be brook trout up there and native trout. So that's cool.
I don't know, but there's plenty of bodies of water. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it sounds like the hiker lost her balance while she was crossing a brook, as Stomp just mentioned, with all the brooks and stuff, and resulted in a leg injury that made her immobile. So fortunately, a Good Samaritan hiker came across her and was able to text 911 for assistance. And he also ran up to Zealand Hut to notify AMC personnel of the situation. Members of the AMC crew from Zealand Hut volunteered to hike down and offer the woman assistance until other help could arrive. And New Hampshire conservation officers and members of the Pemigewasset Valley Search and Rescue responded to carry the hiker back to the trailhead. The rescue was assessed, packaged, and began the 1.5 mile carry out approximately 4:10 p.m. Got back to the trailhead around 5:20 p.m. So seems like not a super long carry out, thankfully, compared to some other different places with 1.5 miles, but I'm imagining quite strenuous.
Yeah,
still.
That was fast. That's a fast mission for sure.
Yeah, good job. Good job, SAR team out there. Good job to Pemi and Fish and Game.
Yeah, if you notice the pictures on the release, I think it was on Instagram or whatnot, they used the wheel, which is a nice method to get somebody out really fast. So instead of carrying the litter, you attach a fat bike wheel to the bottom of the litter underneath the patient's center of gravity. Okay. And as opposed to 10 people, it takes sometimes 2, sometimes 4. And you're literally just ripping it down the trail. Like in Zealand is perfect for the wheel. Yeah. So there's very few places you can use it. That's one of them. Welch Dickey, you'll see it be used coming down the Dickey side because that's fairly gentle for the most part. Or Hancock. I mean, those are the 3, but otherwise you don't see it too often.
And does the patient pretty much get strapped in, like similar to? Yeah,
same.
Okay.
Yeah, just as you would if it was a regular carry. So they have several points like shin, thigh, pelvis, chest. Arms are free, so they can look at their phone while we're carrying them.
Watch a movie.
Yeah, that's happened. A lot of people do? Oh, well, there's been a few. I recall looking back and seeing the patient just looking at their phone the whole way down. And that was, I think that was coming down Falling Waters. Kid you not.
Oh, wow.
Wow. You could bring one down Falling Waters too? I guess where through the switchbacks until you get to Cloudland or something. At the bottom of it,
litter?
You can use one. Oh, I thought you meant the bike.
No. Falling Waters doesn't really.
Gotcha.
No, it's not conducive for that. But litter, yes, obviously.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I guess they were pretty relaxed then. I think I'd be freaking out still if I was going to carry down that trail.
Frankly. Would not have my phone out.
Like, I'd rather be on my own too. Obviously.
Whatever.
Okay. So next we were sort of just chatting about Rumney as the Rumney kind of climbing area, and I didn't realize too what a history sort of Rumney as an area has with rock climbing until I think I talked to our friend Lynn Sweezy sort of about that when she was back on the Pods podcast. I kind of just wasn't aware of it. But injured rock climber rescued at Rumney Rocks climbing area. So this happened back on June 1st, 2:35 p.m. New Hampshire Fish and Game was notified of an injured rock climber at the Rumney Rocks climbing area in the White Mountain National Forest in Rumney. So the climber from New York had suffered a lower leg injury, prevented her from being able to hike down the access trails safely to reach the parking areas. First responders were from the Rumney Fire Department, Plymouth Fire Rescue, Wentworth Fire Department, Campton Thornton Fire Rescue, and conservation officers with the New Hampshire Fish and Game Department as well. And they assisted in moving the patient to the parking area. So a group of rescuers first reached the injured climber shortly after 3 p.m., stabilized her injury, and additional rescue personnel arrived shortly after. She was placed in the litter and carried down the steep access trails between the climbing routes. They started moving the litter at 3:33 p.m. and reached the base parking area at Buffalo Road at 4:08 p.m. So another pretty quick carry out. And the effort was also assisted by many Good Samaritan rock climbers. The New Hampshire Fish and Game article called out. So that's cool when other people are willing to help kind of along the trail and kind of help these things move a little bit faster than they probably would. So shout out to everybody involved on that one.
Yeah, that's great to see.
Yep. Yeah. The old, I always draw the parallel of climbing to airplanes. Like, airplanes are pretty safe until they're not. Like I think the same about climbing. Like, it's safe until it's not. I guess that goes for a lot of things, but I don't know. Something about being high up in the air and things go bad.
I have one friend who always points to the fact that like driving your car statistically is like way more dangerous than doing a lot of things, but I don't know if I believe in probability that much to govern my life, but maybe one day I'll accept it, but
true.
We'll see.
Fate. It's your fate.
Right. So our last story here for local SAR news: injured hiker rescued on Mount Kearsarge in Warner. So this is it's always funny to me that they have Kearsarge North, that they refer to as Kearsarge North, up around Conway, North Conway. But why isn't it Kearsarge South? I just feel like it makes it confusing. Me just being neurotic about the naming of the mountains. But June 8th, approximately 8:30 a.m., conservation officers received a call about an injured hiker on Kearsarge in Warner. The hiker from New Hampshire had summited the mountain, was hiking down the Barlow Trail when she suffered a lower leg injury. She was hiking with her family at the time, and they called 911 when she was able to continue down the trail. Responders included firefighters from the Hopkinton Fire Department, Warner Fire and Rescue Department, and they responded and began carrying Lewis down the mountain in a litter. So she did not get to use the sort of
the wheel,
fat tire assisted vehicle. It sounds like. I don't know how that would work.
Have you guys hiked this? I'm trying to think of if Barlow is the really short trail.
If it's the short one that goes from like the north and it goes like north to south and goes up, if that's the one, I'm not sure if that is the trail, but I've done that one before.
Yeah.
I remember being kind of ledgy in spots. Yeah.
I don't think I've done that one.
And a nice little 52 with a view peak. It's like right after that split, like the 87, 89, 93 split. If you keep going up 89, like heading towards Vermont, it's sort of in New Hampshire in that back little corner area. Mm-hmm. It's maybe like only like probably 30-ish, 40 minutes like from where that split is, but nice little mountain. It's got a little tower on top. I don't think you can go in the tower though, but
I don't think
really
so.
Nice views into Vermont. And stuff. Yeah. So,
wow.
So yeah, that was about it. COs responded and helped carry the hiker 3/4 of a mile back to the trailhead on Kearsarge Mountain Road, and they were transported to Concord Hospital by the Hopkinton Fire Department ambulance. So never like hearing search and rescue stories, but it seems like, knock on wood and knock on head and everything else, that it's been pretty keyword throughout the whites so far. Especially given the fact that we're pushing through sort of the end of shoulder season at this point. Hopefully all the snow is kind of gone, and hopefully things will start drying up when it stops raining every single weekend.
Hopefully soon.
Yeah, it's been wild. It's definitely a slow start.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we made it through the monorail season without any major issues.
Yeah.
Unusual. But hey.
Yeah, well, good. Yeah, maybe kudos to the hikers out there for playing it safe and not getting hurt, and everybody using their noodle, especially like you were mentioning Stomp a few weeks back, where Washington literally got a foot of snow over Memorial Day weekend. So,
I was so nervous about that weekend. It was like, oh no.
Yeah.
But
well, good on everybody. All right. Well, thank you again, Katie, for sitting in with us. Hopefully this was enjoyable and it was a good first podcast experience.
Yeah, this was great. Thank you so much for having me on. I really had a great time.
Right. Thank you. And Mike should be back for next episode. So anybody that wasn't super happy with me conducting through the script, I gave it my best. I did my best. Thanks everybody for listening. Yeah. Thanks everybody for listening. And we'll see you at the 200th.
Oh yeah. See you then.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to learn more about the topics covered in today's show, please check out the show notes and safety information at SLASRPodcast.com. That's SLASRPodcast.com. You can also follow the show on Facebook and Instagram. We hope you'll join us next week for another great show. Until then, on behalf of Mike and Stomp, get out there and crush some mega peaks.
Now covered in scratches, blisters, and bug bites, Chris Staff wanted to complete his most challenging day hike ever.
Fish and Game officers say the hiker from Florida activated an emergency beacon yesterday morning. He was hiking along the Appalachian Trail when the weather started to get worse. Officials say the snow was piled up to 3 feet in some spots, and there was a wind chill of -1 degree.
And there's 3 words to describe this race. Do we all know what they are? Only one hill!
Here's Lieutenant James Nealon, New Hampshire Fish and Game. Lieutenant, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
What are some of the most common mistakes you see people make when they're heading out on the trails to hike here in New Hampshire?
It seems to me the most common is being unprepared, and I think if they just simply visited hikesafe.com and got a list of the 10 essential items and had those in their packs, they probably would have no need to ever call us at all.